everyone.
What's up guys, Unofficial MCU here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we have some breaking Marvel news for two upcoming MCU movies that they're being Blade and Armored Wars. They now may be in a intimate danger of cancellation as a per source and overall new reports. We're gonna hop right on into it, break it all down for you guys, everything that we know and everything that we're anticipating right now. Before we do though, however, grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, as we're discussing and covering all types of Marvel-related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button today. Okay, so in this video we are going to be taking a quick read from the Direct article as an overall garnering source. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. So according to a new report, two upcoming MCU movies could be in danger of cancellation. As I had mentioned, that there would be Blade and also Armored Wars. When it comes to the recent MCU, there has never actually been a project that was announced and canceled entirely. They do eventually see the light of day in one way or another, whether it's been reformed into a movie or reformed into a Disney Plus show or a Disney Plus special, vice versa, either which way around, they do eventually get out there, and that story overall is eventually told. The two that have come closest have been Captain America and the Serpent Society and Avengers the Kang Dynasty. Even then, they kind of just take them, reformulate them, rename them, and restructure their overall stories. The overall placeholder and the overall, like, what characters they're supposed to be about, essentially, those still stand and those are still there. Yes, the projects were canceled and the stories those movies were meant to tell were also kind of scrapped, more or less, but still, they are replaced by a different film of the same franchise, Captain America Civil War and Avengers Doomsday now, respectively. And even though those initial titles were actually canceled, those were still, a third Captain America movie, and there's still going to be a fifth Avengers movie. As I had mentioned, they still cover the in general basis story of those given characters. Anyway, that's besides the point. There have been others with minor name changes or story shifts over the last couple of years as well, but there has been nothing that has been officially announced by Marvel, not simply rumored or reported, but as a full-on announcement by Marvel to be fully canceled so far. And hopefully we won't have to see that, but according to a new report, as I had mentioned, that very well may be the case for Blade out of all projects and for Armored Wars as well. So according to industry insider Daniel Richmond, who has a very reputable track record when it comes to these inside scoops and overall reports, even being acclaimed by the Hollywood Reporter and Variety, other trades of the such, Marvel is reportedly deciding about potentially canceling Armored Wars and or Blade or both over the next few months. So it could be one or the other that they would shift priority over to. It could be both. It's like a if or and kind of scenario, like and or really kind of scenario is what we're seeing here. This is all unofficial, pun intended, and there is no named source to exactly be given. This is just something that he's kind of caught wind of, it seems. So the truth of this claim cannot be determined really just yet, and I would take it with a huge grain of salt, really, if for anything, and really stick it into that rumored territory. I mean, of course, yeah, looking at it from a logistics side point of view, it makes sense that that was something that Marvel Studios may have to be faced with, because both of those projects are supposed to come out before Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars there. I think both of them are actually supposed to come out before Avengers Doomsday because those characters play big roles in those movies. And I think that would be the whole other, if or anything, more unfortunate part of both of these, if they do happen, cancellations, is that those characters may be limited to their roles in the next Avengers movies, unfortunately. Now, Daniel Richmond in his report did say that a final decision on the fate of Armored Wars and Blade is expected to be made in the coming months. And or I'll continue to reiterate that it's kind of what we're hearing. As I had mentioned, it's either Armored Wars or Blade to be canceled, or both. Like as I had mentioned, they may shift their focus on one or other project essentially, so that the other one can see the light of day, but they have to let the other one go, or they very well may just say, screw it, we're canceling both. He says all of this here in quote from his initial report. As for Marvel, they have at least 5 live-action shows in development. I also hear a final decision on the fate of Armored Wars and Blade is expected to be coming in the next couple of months. Ending that quote right there. Now, both projects have been set up to some extent in recent MCU projects as well. Blade's voice in Internals and the unfinished story of Rhodey being a Skrull from Secret Invasion. So there's definitely some setup there for those stories to definitely 110% to be told to some capacity. But that narrative table setting could fairly easily be taken care of within other projects if need be, all at the same time. Like, they could go all out with it, give them their, those movies, Armored Wars and Blade, and do the whole thing, or they could tone it back essentially and tell only partial of that story, or like in a more scaled down version of those stories, maybe per se at the beginning of Avengers Doomsday, especially if they want those characters to still play those roles in those movies. And so, looking at this as from more of an overview perspective here, as I have mentioned from the get-go at the beginning of this video, take this with all of a grain of salt. Take it all a part of the rumor mill. None of this is solidified, and there really isn't all that much to worry about, at least for right now. So the big question is, how likely is a Blade or Armored Wars cancellation to actually happen with Marvel Studios? If this news had maybe come even just a couple of months ago, the Blade side of it would make far more sense than it does right now. For years, the movie has struggled through its development, and it has been postponed multiple times at this point, of course. And over the previous few weeks, though, that has changed. A joke about the movie's production challenges and delays was even made in a way into Deadpool and Wolverine, though the nature of that joke makes it able to be interpreted as a good or a bad news kind of scenario for the movie. And anyway, just this past week though, Brad Winderbaum, the head of streaming for Marvel Studios and one of the producers, said that the horror elements in the upcoming show Agatha All Along will not resemble the horror elements of Blade, indicating that the project is still in development in those talks and in moving forward. Armored Wars, on the other hand, though, however, has seen no updates since the end of Secret Wars, when director Ali Salem had confirmed that the show did set up things for Armored Wars movie. And even then, though, the movie had seen a lot of changes since its initial announcement as a Disney Plus series a couple of years ago even then. So really, if for anything, I think that the prospects of the Armored Wars movie is more in shambles, honestly, if for anything. And I also would have to say that that is more of a worst case scenario, because there's just more confusion surrounding the character of Rhodey, especially after the events of Secret Invasion and its Disney Plus show. If it was Blade, though, of course, they'd be able to just kind of bring Blade into the next Avengers movies and kind of set him up, like, in there, essentially, and then lead him into his own standalone solo movie, of course, I think, from there. Like, that's something that Marvel has done before, and they aren't a stranger to that. Of course, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial MCU. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. Peace out.